All right, all right. Hello, everybody. Your boy's back. It's your boy Soda with the Autumn Windbags. Back with another one. Last week just couldn't be done. So decided, you know what, I got to make sure I make it happen today. For whatever reason, I'm still not feeling great. I don't know what the hell's going on. So I did what every smart, adjusted human being knows they shouldn't do, but they do anyway, right? I went on WebMD. I said, all right, this is what I'm feeling. What's going on? So it could be anywhere from a food allergy to irritable bowel syndrome, ulcerative colitis, gallbladder disease, stomach cancer, pancreatic cancer, all kinds of shit. Who the hell knows? I'm sure it's not any type of cancer because I just had blood work done. Something would have popped up. It's got to be something else. But we'll be all right. We're here. We're hanging. We're banging. I got Gatorade. I got water. I got the Windbags. Got the Raider Nation. We're ready to go. How am I doing? I'm alive. It's good enough to steal a line from Furious Styles from Boys in the Hood. I'm alive. That's good enough. Raider Nation, thank you, player. Thank you. Praying for me. I need them. I need them. I need the prayers. Say a little prayer for your boy. So, we always start the same way. Appreciate you guys. You know how things go. Like, comment, subscribe. Go ahead in the corner there and hit that little notifications button whenever you see. If you want to get right up to date whenever we drop a video, whenever RJ and I go live, anything like that, you'll be able to be abreast of the situation before anybody else. It's weird about this, how I'm feeling, because like it'll go away for like a few days and then it'll come back with a vengeance. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? The good thing about today is I was able to sleep a lot. I had some things I had to do, and I feel really bad about it because I was supposed to do some things with my chick, but I wasn't able to do it. And I don't know. I feel really bad about it. I don't know. I'm gonna probably play for that later. So this, you may think that this episode is going to be a little less hard hitting, maybe a little less, but the way I play is if I only have like 20 good snaps in me, right? I'm going to go balls out for those 20 good snaps. I'm not going to try to stretch those 20 snaps out to 30 or 25, kind of half-ass it. No. I got 20 snaps. I'm going to give you 20 snaps, but I'm going to give you these hard-hitting 20 snaps. So, without further ado, Raider Nation, question of the day. Who's your favorite player from the Raiders? Okay, well, present or past? That's, my top favorite players from the past are Howie Long, Bo Jackson, who else do I really like? Matuzak. I love fucking Matuzak. I just love his name. Lyle Alzada. I like those I like the really good players, even though like Bo Jackson and Howie Long weren't like bad boys, but I also like the freaking like the rough, tough, badasses. Okay, my favorite presently, my favorite Raider player would have to be, and I'm going to get to that, because it's one of my topics today about being a Raider fan. So one of my favorite Raider right now, I would have to say, is probably Max Crosby. just because, he's been through a lot. I like his attitude, but I like his attitude on the field reflects his attitude off the field. Like when he decides to do something and when he decides to be, the man he wants to be off the field, he's all in 100%. Full bore, go, right? Well, same thing on the field. He decided, I'm going to make myself one of the best players in the NFL at my position, and every snap, I'm going to give you every single thing I have, which is kind of like how I am. I'm going to give you guys everything I got today. Hopefully it's a lot. I like, Devontae. I like Devontae. I haven't seen him play. I like Waller a lot, but you asked me for my favorite player, so my favorite player would have to be Max Crosby. Jorge, what's up, baby? Thank you, man. Appreciate you, bro. Jamarcus Russell. People in Alabama don't even like Jamarcus Russell, bro, where he's from. People don't even like his ass there. So I don't know. Yeah, Jamarcus Russell. And I told the story to RJ. When was the last time I was really, really hopeful for the Raiders? And the last time I was super hopeful for the Raiders was when we got Jeff George. Because, man, I don't know if you guys remember Jeff George coming out of college. I think he went to Illinois. Dude, this was like the arm talent of arm talents. Like picture like a little bit smaller, not quite as run heavy, like Josh Allen. Just gunslinger of all gunslingers, super freaking strong arm, gives a hell what you think, just goes out there and just freaking slings that thing. And that was Jeff George, man. But Jeff George liked to throw the ball to the other team a lot, and he didn't like to study his playbook very much. And that stupid hard dirt on the infield at the Raiders field at the Coliseum caused Jeff George to tear his groin muscle off the bone in a game, and we lost it for a long time. But yeah, Jeff George was the last time I was really excited before this year, really excited about the Raider team. All right, so let's get started. The last time I was on, I was talking about how the Raiders still were not getting any love from the media. 4th out of 4 in AFC West, fringe playoff contending team, blah, 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 this and that. Everyone was loving Russell Wilson. Everyone was loving this. Everyone was loving that. Great. I'll tell you something. The Raiders are finally starting to get some media love. So Adam Shine wrote an article about 9 bold predictions for the NFL. The first of which was that Derek Carr would lead the league in passing yards. And I thought to myself, how could that be possible? And it can. Tom Brady, I believe, has been up in the league leaders in passing yards when he was with Josh McDaniels almost every year, either at the top or or the top. So I'm thinking to myself, what would the offense look like if Derek Carr led the league in passing? And it would be very similar to the last year Tom Brady was with the Patriots. They didn't have a strong running game, or they didn't use their running game that often. They used a short passing game as their running game. Very similar to think of a Jeff Hostetler. But the thing is they used like a hybrid West Coast offense where they used the West Coast concepts as basically their running plays, but they also had more deep down the field shots and plays that were like their passing plays. They didn't run the ball too often, and they threw the ball a ton. That could be a way. I don't think that's to the team's benefit, to be honest with you, to have Derek Carr throw the ball that many times. Because if you're going to lead the league in passing, you got to throw the ball a lot. So I don't know what that would do for the Raiders team if he were to have to throw the ball that much to lead the league in passing. But hey, it could work. When McDaniels was with New England, they were winning 10, 11 plus games every year. Another bold prediction was from Adam Shine's article was that New England would be like 14th in the AFC. The reason why I bring that up is he actually ranked his AFC teams. And the Raiders were ranked 5th. Interesting. What that means is the Raiders were the best non-division winning AFC team. Very similar to this last year. They were the best ranked, the highest ranked, or no, they were ranked. Yeah, they were the highest ranked team in the AFC to not win their division. He's calling for that again. So there's some media love right there for you. Okay, we don't really get this a lot. Now, moving forward, Gary Davenport was ranking quarterback situations. And he was ranking every quarterback situation in the NFL. Derek Carr and the Raiders were ranked 13th. Now, if you know me and you've heard me before, and if you want to move past all this, what should I call it? All this rhetoric or this agenda that RJ tries to push that I hate Derek Carr, you'll know that I have Derek Carr ranked in the NFL anywhere from like 11 to 14, 15, around that area, depending on how well they do that year. So 13 is not far away from, a possible ranking. Let's take a look here. Who are the players ahead of Derek Carr? Well, there's Tom Brady in Tampa, Mahomes in KC, Josh Allen in Buffalo, Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, Lamar Jackson in Baltimore, Burrow in Cincinnati, Herbert in LA. This is where it gets kind of dicey. Russell Wilson in Denver, I'll have to see it. Stafford with the Rams, can't really argue with that. I mean, they're pretty close because, hell, he just won the Super Bowl, but before he came to the Super Bowl, that was a big comparison, a Colts comparison to Carr with Stafford. Dak Prescott, this is where it starts to get a little funky, right? Those little pockets, it's not an exact thing. It's a little pocket, or like Keyshawn Johnson likes to say, a bucket. Like those quarterbacks are in a specific bucket, right? We're starting to get to the Derek Carr bucket. Deshaun Watson in Cleveland, and Kyler Murray in Arizona. Those are the ones that are ahead of Derek Carr. And Derek Carr, obviously, is number 13 from the Las Vegas Raiders. Okay, so how can we improve on that? Now, if Derek Carr goes out there and leads the league in passing yards, that could be a possibility. I think it's going to be more so the team as opposed to his individual, because they're talking about quarterback situation. What's the best quarterback situation? We got to win games, man. We got to win games for that to be a better quarterback situation. Let's see what you guys think. Jorge, yeah, freaking Jeff George had that cannon arm. He had a robot arm, dude. I don't know. He'd like to throw it away to other people. Matthew, hit the like button. Yeah, man, hit that like button. Comment and subscribe. Bob, my boy. I'm going to tell you something right now. Bob has been one of my biggest supporters since day one. Bob knows if you can't be an athlete, be an athletic supporter. Did you say Herbert? Yeah, Herbert, I think was like number 6 or 7, something like that. Matthew, Dak isn't better than DC. We'll see. We'll see. That's the thing, man. Look, we're going to get to that in a second. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. Let's get to it right now. So, here's a question you have to ask yourself. And this is a question that I've been asking myself a long time. And this is one of the things that I get on RJ about. You can be a fan of a team, but not like a specific player, and call yourself a fan of that team. But if your fandom for that specific player supersedes the fandom for the team, you're not really a fan of that team. Example, think of it like your sister's dating some dude, right? some guy, and you hang out with them because they're around a lot. You're maybe around the same age, you have similar interests, whatever, right? Then they break up. Or actually, better yet, then they start having a lot of problems. And he's coming to you because he confides in you about shit, and he starts talking to you about stuff, and you're like, homie, I'll listen and everything, but don't expect me to talk shit on my sister, on my blood, right? Like, that's where my allegiance is. Like, I like you. You're cool. We can hang. We can be boys as long as you're with her. But that has to be the link, right? Once you start going off doing your own thing and dating somebody else, like, all right, man, you're cool and everything. Send me a funny meme or something on IG or whatever, back and forth on Twitter. But we're not going to be boys the same way, especially if you guys break up. So that's the allegiance, the hierarchy of allegiance you have to have. The thing that I get on RJ so much about is the way he acts and the way that he kind of like maneuvers things. It seems to me, I don't know what you guys feel. It seems like he wants the Raiders to win with Carr, whereas I don't care who they win with. I just want them to win. It feels to me like I'm a bigger fan of the Raiders, whereas RJ's Raider fandom at this time is super linked to Derek Carr, which is fine. It can be linked, but wanting somebody to succeed at the detriment of the team, because these years are passing and this like great contract that we signed these players for and this roster that we're building together, they're only going to be together for so long until the roster has to start turning over. And when that roster starts turning over, who knows if it's better or it can maybe stay the same or maybe get a little bit worse. And that's where I started talking to a buddy of mine about time wasted, about situations in the NFL where time was wasted. And then something happened, something triggered a change. And for the most part, those changes came to the benefit of the team. And we'll look at some right now. So I want to know, are you guys Raider fans? Or are you guys fans of the Raiders because Derek Carr is playing for them? Jorge, Carr is always proving people wrong. Okay. Since he entered the league, he's got the most losses in the NFL for a starting quarterback. Now, I understand he has, and this is one of the things that RJ likes to pull out a lot, he has the most comebacks in the NFL, fourth quarter comebacks since he's been in the league. Well, when you got a bad defense, you're going to have a lot of those. You're going to be in that position a lot. To be the losingest quarterback in the NFL since you entered the league, and you entered the league 8 years ago, is going to be your 9th year. Two things have to be true. Number one, you have to be losing a lot. Actually, three things. Of course, you have to be losing a lot. Number two, you had to have started your playing career or your starting career almost right away, which Derek Carr did. But you also have to show flashes. You have to show something to have multiple regimes and multiple head coaches want to stick with you, right? And I think Derek Carr has done that. I think that he's been very good, if not great, in flashes. He did start off his starting career right away. He started his first NFL game. And he has lost a lot. That's how you get there. Raiders. Raider Nation says, I like the Raiders, not a specific person. Raider Nation forever. I agree with you, man. I agree with you. I know that a lot of players these days are starting to have a little bit more of a tie to their teams because it's a lot of the community service they do in the cities and stuff like that. It kind of ties you to a city a little bit. You know, you start getting really invested in the city. And in certain situations, you get paid a whole lot more, a whole lot earlier with your current team than you could on another team. More so the second big contract. The first big contract, you can be extended a year early or whatever. But once you hit that second big contract, if you sign a second big contract with the same team, you're locked into that team. So that's my take on that. Because what I want to do right now, thanks for the comments, guys. What I want to do right now is I want to go through situations and how moving on from a player, even though they may not have been bad, a lot of times they've been pretty good, but just not the guy. Now I want to start off by saying this. I am not saying right now that Derek Carr is going to succeed or that Derek Carr is going to fail. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that Derek Carr is good or that Derek Carr is not good. I'm not saying that either. I want to be very clear of the argument that I'm making. Very clear. The argument I'm making is, now that Derek Carr has gotten better offensive play caller, better scheme, better weapons, better defense, more playmakers, when is enough enough? Now, Carr, RJ was really pushing on it. He was really, putting my name in his mouth by saying Soto says we can't sustain success doing this, and Derek and RJ likes to say, well, we had the most tumultuous season that any NFL team has ever had, and we still made the playoffs. To that, I say this. If you're okay with making the playoffs once every presidential election, then go right ahead. Stick with your current situation. Me, I like to be a little bit more consistent than that. And that's my main issue right now with our quarterback situation is the consistency. The consistency of the play of the quarterback, the consistency of the roster, the consistency of the front office, just the consistency in total of the coaching. All that stuff plays a part. Now, I'm not saying that all these things are Derek Carr's fault, but at the end of the day, you have to decide, is this going to be the guy I'm going to move forward with, or it's just better to cut bait and move on? I'm not afraid of quarterback purgatory. I'm not afraid of losing and losing and losing to get a better situation and have somebody with a higher ceiling, somebody who can undoubtedly be called a top 5 NFL quarterback. You can't say that about Derek Carr. You can say that he's a fringe top 10 quarterback for sure. But if you cannot say that he is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL every single year. You can't say that. And that should be your goal, is to get one of the top guys at your position. This year is going to tell us a lot. So my question is, if Derek Carr doesn't show not only championship level play, but doesn't have a championship level team, what do? What do you do? Now, RJ loves to say you don't get rid of a franchise quarterback. You don't get rid of quarterbacks that you've won with. You don't get rid of quarterbacks that have taken you to the playoffs. You just don't do it. Okay. Let's Keegan Jones. I think this is one of the first times you've commented, bro. This is the year that will truly tell you everything you need to know about Carr. Forget everything else. This is the year. I agree. Just like Josh McDaniel said, right? Clean slate. We got a clean slate right here. Everyone's got a clean slate. Let's see what you can do. That's one of the big reasons I think Carr signed only a 1-year guarantee. Because if he's not the dude, you can draft somebody high next year, trade up to get up to a spot to get the guy that you want, and then still have Carr there on until the second guy's the backup is ready. Mega D, completely agree regarding Carr, too inconsistent. Yeah, man, look, people like to bash me a lot. People like to really bash me. Keegan, thanks, man. I appreciate you, bro. Dude, if you're listening, throw a comment out there, man. It's always great to interact with you guys. But one of the things that I get buried on a lot is I get called a hater. People question my Raider fandom because I'm so critical of the Raiders. I'm not okay with making the playoffs every 4 years. I'm not okay with being a one and done fringe playoff afterthought team. That's just not okay with me. I want to be a championship contender, excuse me, year in and year out. That's what I want. T Severe. Carr stands will say Kaepernick sucks based on his last 2 years, even though he had bad coaching and a bad roster. But excuse Carr's losing because of bad coaching and a bad roster. Bro, I don't know what to say. I really don't. I don't know where the Derek Carr has a sex tape on all these people. I don't know where he's got something holding over his head against them. I just don't know, man. What I know is this. What are your results on the field? Now, if it's obvious that you just don't have shit around you, okay. But if you have stuff guys around you, like if you had a Waller and a Cook and a Cooper and Crabtree, and you've had a Tay Train and Jacobs, and you had a good offensive line and a bad offensive line and a good offensive coordinator, a bad offensive coordinator. If you had all this stuff, and now here's the deal: wins and losses, it's half of the game is offense, right? So then half of the game is defense. So I understand that. But if your play specifically is inconsistent, you cannot blame that on the defense. That's on you. All right. Raider Nation says you're not a hater. You're just speaking facts. You're speaking true. You're just speaking facts. You're speaking facts, and I agree with you. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. So let's look at these situations, okay? All right. I'm going to copy and paste these suckers, okay? And we'll go one by one. Andy Dalton in his time with Cincinnati. Now, mind you, Andy Dalton, people are like, Andy Dalton sucks, blah, 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 this and that. In his time with Cincinnati, had more touchdowns, less interceptions, more wins than Derek Carr. Okay? Say what you want to say about Andy Dalton. So Andy Dalton was a 3-time Pro Bowler, made the playoffs 4 times. He had a 70, 64, and 2 record, 205 touchdowns, and 118 interceptions. And Cincinnati said, he's not our guy. He's good. He's decent. He gets us to the playoffs, but he's not the guy. So when people say you don't get rid of good quarterbacks, you don't get rid of winning quarterbacks, you don't get rid of, well, this happened here. All right. There's Andy Dalton. Let's move on. Tyrod Taylor with Buffalo. He was a primary starter for the last 2 seasons. He became the starter his first year there after a few weeks. Tyrod Taylor went 22-20, made the Pro Bowl once in 3 years. He accounted for 65 touchdowns, 14 of them rushing, but that's part of his game. That's why I added it. Only 16 interceptions. His last year, here's the thing, guys. His last year with Buffalo, Tyrod Taylor took Buffalo to the playoffs for the first time in 17 years. And they still got rid of him. You know why? Because he wasn't the guy. He wasn't the guy. We're winning with him. His stats look good. We're moving the ball. We're winning games. We finally broke our playoff curse, but guess what? He's not the guy. He's good. He got us to the promised land once out of 3 years. He got us to the playoffs, but guess what? He's not the guy. The Cincinnati Bengals moved on from Dalton, had a bum year with a bunch of slapdicks throwing the ball, and then got Joe Burrow. Tyrod Taylor, winning games, take him to the playoffs. He's just not the guy. Go purgatory for a year, went and got Josh Allen. It's possible. It's possible, guys. That's the thing. We think it's ridiculous to get rid of a starting quarterback if he's okay, if he gets you to the playoffs every once in a while. Those are 2 examples already. Let's move on. Alex Smith with Kansas City. Had some rough years with the Niners, had one good year with the Niners, had an injury-plagued season, got let go, went to KC. The Walrus, thought he could turn him around, and he did. And Alex Smith's time with the Chiefs, he was a 3-time Pro Bowler, made the playoffs 4 times, won 2/3 of his games, 50-26 record, 102 touchdowns, 33 interceptions. But KC knew Alex Smith was not the guy. He wasn't the guy. He was good. We're getting to the playoffs. We're winning the division every year. We're, winning, we're getting to the playoffs almost every year. He's just not the guy. They figured it out. They drafted Patrick Mahomes. They moved up in the first round to get Patrick Mahomes because they didn't have a high draft pick that year. That's what I hear a lot too. Well, the Raiders don't get high draft picks. We can't pick these guys. Well, neither did the Chiefs. They traded up to, I think, number 10 or 11 or whatever they got him. And they got their guy. He sat a year, and they were able to let Alex Smith go. When he's not the guy, when you identify he's not the guy, you got to pull the trigger. Okay, we're about halfway through the list. Let's see what we got going on here. Luis E. Carr has to be fearless, use his leg. That's one thing, but the thing is when he uses his legs, that's what else he does. He fucking fumbles a lot. Matthew says, I've been a Raider fan since 1987. I just think Carr is better than Dak. Sorry, I'm behind. Gotcha, Matthew. No worries. But now we're talking about situations where teams have moved on from winning quarterbacks. Okay? But welcome, Matthew. Welcome. You're always welcome, sir. Okay, moving on to the next one. This one's a little funky. Whoops. Jared Goff with the Rams. Jared Goff with the Rams was a 2-time Pro Bowler. Made it to the playoffs 3 times in 4 years. Made it to a Super Bowl. Had a 42-27 record. And mind you, he was 0-7 his first year. Okay? 107 touchdowns, 55 interceptions. The Rams were like, you know what? We've gone to the promised land. We've gone to the playoffs. We've gone to the Super Bowl. The year that they moved on from Jared Goff, the Rams were in the divisional round. They went past the wild card round. They won a game at Seattle and moved on. And they saw that Jared Goff wasn't the guy. We have the team. We've been successful. He's just not the guy. We need to go out and get a guy that can be the guy. M85. Remember when Aldon Smith and Khalil Mack were on the field together? Remember when Aldon Smith was on the field at all? I hope Aldon Smith is doing better, man, because that's one of the bigger kind of cautionary tales for NFL players of, even though you're really, really good, you can still screw your career up if you keep fucking up. All right, moving along. Next quarterback, Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco with the Ravens. He's still in the league. He's still starting games. 6 times to the playoffs. 1 Super Bowl victory. He was 10-5 in the playoffs. Joe Flacco was never a one-and-done playoff quarterback. He always won at least 1 game in the playoffs. He had a 96-67 record, 212 touchdowns, 136 interceptions. But even though after all that success, he just wasn't the guy. He wasn't the guy anymore. And the Ravens moved on. Now, you're looking at a quarterback who has gone to the playoffs 6 times, always won a playoff game when he's gone, has won a Super Bowl. has a lot more weight behind his name to a franchise than Derek Carr does now. And they moved on from him when they felt that this wasn't the guy. So I don't want to hear you don't move on from a playoff quarterback. You don't move on from a quarterback you can win with, because obviously you do. We got some comments here. Yeah, I noticed that too. That's a fucking sick album cover. All right, you guys. I like you guys now. You guys are all my boys now. All right. Now, let's go to some current situations, shall we? Because it's like, okay, well, that's happened in the past and blah, 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 and X, Y, Z, and this and that. Okay. Let's take a look at some current situations. Start with the shittiest one first, because that's how we do. Your boy, Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield is entering his, I believe, 4th year. Yes, entering his 4th year. Made it to the playoffs once, 29-30 record, 92 touchdowns, 56 interceptions. The Browns were like, you know what? He's just not our guy. We've won with him. We actually won a playoff game with him. Even though he was hurt this last year, he's just not the guy. He had a better QBR the year before than Derek Carr did. He's just not the guy. So let's move on. All right. So to anyone who says that no one's going to do that nowadays, there's that. Let's also take a look at this dude. Jimmy, I like dating porn stars G. Traded from New England to San Francisco. He's made the playoffs twice. Went to one Super Bowl, which they lost. 31-14 record. Again, won 2/3 of his games, or more than 2/3 of his games. 66 touchdowns, 38 interceptions, and they drafted his replacement. What, 2 years ago now? It's almost 3. It's like 2 years ago. So I don't want to hear that you don't move on from a quarterback you're winning with, because if you're winning, but he's not the guy that can get you there, you still do move on, even if you maybe take a step back. Because guess what? There's a high probability that if Trey Lance takes over the 49ers right now and Jimmy G is not the starter anymore, they're not going to make the conference championships. That's what they were last year, conference championships. But it's still the right move for them, because they know, even though he's good, and even though we don't know if Trey Lance is the guy, we know Jimmy G is not the guy. And that's more important, I think, than finding the guy who you do know is the guy, is identifying the guy who isn't. The reason that is because you don't waste your time. If you know X isn't the guy, then why are you moving along with him? You know he's not the guy. I'm not saying Carr is. I'm not saying Carr isn't. I'm saying after this year, there's going to be a lot of questions answered. Got some comments again. See what we got. Keegan Jones again. What are the chances Carr becomes the guy with the added weapons and McDaniels? It's possible. It's possible. But that's what I'm saying is, what do you do if he ends up being the guy? Of course, you just move on with the fuck you're doing and you just move forward. There's no question there. But what if he's not? You still make excuses? Oh, well, it's the first time in the system. Oh, well, it's this. Oh, well, it's that. Oh, well, our defense wasn't a top 5 defense. Or this. Look, Joe Burrow went to the Super Bowl and damn near won the Super Bowl with the shit offensive line, so I don't want to hear about offensive lines, okay? He had good weapons, and he had a defense. That's it. It was Joe Burrow's arm, his 3 pass catchers, his 3 wide receivers, a tight end, and a running back, a shit offensive line, and a defense. That's what he went to the Super Bowl with. Matthew, if Carr regresses, he's got to go. I don't think he will. I hope he doesn't because he's already in-house. Frank, what are all these quarterbacks that Juan is talking about have in common? They had amazing teams unlike – bro, Frank, those its teams went to the playoffs. Those teams had his team had 6. Okay, I don't know what. I think you're very upset right now typing to me. Bro, look. Okay, you talk text. I get it. Frank, are we going to have a commitment to excellence or are we going to have a commitment to excuses? That's what you have to ask yourself. Commitment to excellence or commitment to excuses? I do not commit to excuses. We need to perform now. So in the past, I see what you're saying. In the past, now, better coach, better scheme, better weapons, better defense. Where's the excuses? There comes a point in time where you have to look, are you winning because of a guy or are you just winning with a guy? Again, you're looking at, so if you want to look back at that, and so that Frank, you're okay. What you're saying is, all I know, the Chargers were home for the playoffs and the Raiders were playing in the playoffs. If you're okay with making the playoffs once every 4 years and getting first rounded, then you have your guy. I'm not okay with it. Rob Cloud, this is a good question that I hear a lot. Who are you going to replace Carr with? That would be an improvement. You go out and look for one. Have we looked for one? Have we looked for a replacement for Carr? Have we looked for one? No. But here's the thing. Identifying when someone is not the guy is more important than identifying when someone is. Because if you know this guy is not the guy, you're not wasting years with a guy that you know is not the guy. Now, can this other guy be the guy? He may and he may not. But at least you have a shot. If you have the guy that isn't the guy still rolling out the guy that isn't the guy, you know he's not the guy. Frank again. Jimmy G at quarterback with the Raiders will get us 6 wins. You can't say that. That's not true. That's an opinion. It's not a fact. I'm stating facts here. When you know a quarterback is not the guy, you have to move on. That's not an opinion. You can't tell me that Carr does not have a better scheme, a better offensive mind, better weapons, and they're going to have a better defense. It's going to be better. Better weapons, better scheme, more modern defense, more modern offense. It's going to be better. If he doesn't perform, they drafted him last year. Drafted who last year? No, I'm talking about the Raiders. I don't give a fuck about the 49ers. I don't give a shit about the 49ers. I'm talking about the Raiders. King 85. Here we go. You're asking for excuses for something that hasn't happened. No. I'm posing the question. Here. That's why people think you hate him. Like you're coming across like you're taking the stance of him failing already. No. King 85. I appreciate this because I want to be very clear about what I'm talking about here. After 8 seasons, Derek Carr has led a team to the playoffs twice. Okay. And the excuses that I'm talking about are he's had no weapons, he's had poor coaching, he's had a lot of different coaches, he's had a poor defense, he's had, all this shit, right? Well, those things are being corrected. Now, as RJ likes to put it, freaking Captain Everything, thickest dick in the world with my cape on, Derek Carr was able to take a dumpster fire of a franchise to the playoffs. No. If he's able to do that with last year's situation, he has a much better situation this year. If you see a regression in the team, do you still stick around with Derek Carr? That's the question I'm asking. And I'm giving examples of other teams who were winning a hell of a lot more than Derek Carr has been winning in his career, and the team still moved on from them. That's what I'm saying. Frank, I triggered him. Rodgers has won a Super Bowl, so should the Packers have moved on? No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying Rodgers has proven that he's been the guy. Rodgers is also back-to-back reigning MVP. So how dare you, number one, compare Derek Carr to a back-to-back reigning MVP Super Bowl champion? You just can't do that. Let's just be real about it, okay? This is where people think I'm a hater. No, you can't compare Derek Carr to Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is a two-time defending NFL MVP, and he's won a Super Bowl. Big difference. Jamarcus Russell was a complete flameout. There is your other traffic that you can have. You think everyone's going to be Joe Burrow. No, you're not. But if you know who Derek Carr is and you know he's not the guy, why are you still spinning your wheels? That's the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. If you know Derek Carr is not the guy, why do you keep throwing him out there then? Might as well look for someone else to be the guy, because he may be or he may not be. You never know. Because once you know he's not the guy, guess what? You get rid of him and start somewhere else. I'm not afraid of quarterback purgatory. I'm not afraid of that. I'm not afraid of failure. What I'm afraid of is mediocrity. What I'm afraid of is inconsistency. And that's what we have now. And I don't think anyone can disagree with that. He had a great defense and had 3 stud wide receivers. And who had a great defense? Joe Burrow? You're smoking crack, bro. Go look at the numbers. So we will see this year. Exactly. Okay, so our 3 receivers that match up with Joe Burrow's receivers. Okay, so probably the best receiver in the entire league, Devontae Adams. One of the best slot receivers, probably 3 to 5 slot receivers in the league, in Hunter Renfrow. And the biggest matchup nightmare at tight end. I think that's pretty damn good. Gun Nerd. The way our contracts are structured, our next 3 seasons are our potential golden ticket for true success. If our defense can't be a top 15, our offense doesn't make red zone improvements, we lose. Agreed. Now, here's the thing that people aren't thinking of about defense, right? If you're better in the red zone, that actually helps your defense, and here's why. It puts more pressure on the opposing offense to do things maybe they normally wouldn't do if they're further behind than they are. Excuse me. That's why a lot of teams are a lot better with their starting quarterback. Even their defense plays a lot better than with their backup quarterback. Because what an offense does puts pressure on the opposing offense to do more. And maybe follow a game plan that isn't the most consistently a big chance of success, more of a hit or miss. And when they miss, they win big, even without that. What about defense? What about it? We got a better defensive coordinator. Now, here's the deal. Let's say, for example, Carr does ball the fuck out, right? Carr balls out, and we still are about the same, maybe one win less. But Carr balls the hell out, and our defense is putrid. Okay, I can see that, right? I can see, okay, you know what? It wasn't Carr's fault. Carr balled the fuck out. Our defense is just that bad again. I can see you give him another chance to roll out there, because I'm not fucking cold-blooded here. Just cut him because, you know. But the thing is you can't have that, you know, that super sympathetic heart either. This is a end sum business here. You win or you lose. Keegan Jones. So is saying he could be this guy this year, but we could also find out he's not. So he's asking, what he's asking about what to do if he isn't after this year. Thank you. And I'm also giving examples of other teams who have moved on from quarterbacks who are a lot more successful than Derek Carr. So it's not unprecedented. Gun Nerd. Bengals defense was a tiny bit better than ours in some key categories. Yeah, they weren't all that great. They weren't great. And they had a worse offensive line. So let's just fucking cool it on that, all right? Okay, so now you're saying, so Frank, do me a huge favor. Before you start throwing these names out there like Aaron Rodgers and Dan Marino and Dan Fouts and all this stuff, John Elway didn't win to the very. Go look. John Elway went to the Super Bowl a ton of times. He won a ton of games, and he was in the Super Bowl a lot before he actually won. So do yourself a huge favor. Go pull up the statistics, not wins and losses, but their statistics. Now, also, mind you, it's a different league at the time. I would still guess to say that Dan Marino had way better stats than Derek Carr, even in a not-so-pass-happy league. So let's just pump our brakes on comparing Derek Carr to other quarterbacks, okay? Dan Marino was a sure ballot, first ballot Hall of Famer. I don't think anyone can say that about Derek Carr, okay? Fouts was a Hall of Famer. Marino was a Hall of Famer, no doubter. Aaron Rodgers is a no doubt Hall of Famer, two-time reigning MVP, Super Bowl champion. So don't compare. I'm comparing guys that are in the same ballpark as Derek Carr. You're trying to say, oh, well, this guy never won a Super Bowl. But yeah, guess what? He's a Hall of Famer. So he was that good. He just didn't happen for him. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay if we get a quarterback that's good and we're in it every year and like, man, we just lost, but we're in it every year. Okay, I understand. It's hard to win in the Super Bowl, right? But making the playoffs every 4 years, once every 4 years, and get first rounded every time we've gone, think about that for a second. Oscar, yeah, DC would have to go unconscious for 5 years to be a Hall of Famer. Yeah, bro. He would have to and he could he do it? Maybe. We'll see. All right, we still got a couple more left. We just looked at Jimmy G. We looked at Baker. Here's another one for you guys. And this one may tug at the ball strings right here, okay? I don't know what the hell's going on with my shit. Here we go. Ryan Tannehill. He made the Pro Bowl, 3-time playoffs. Again, won 2/3 of his games, more than 2/3 of his games. 76 touchdowns, 27 interceptions. He was the reigning quarterback for the number 1 seed in the AFC. And the Titans were like, you know what? Even with our run-centric offense, he's not the guy. We're going to draft his replacement. Guys, you need to be real about this. If you're pushing for Derek Carr's success more than the Raiders' success, that's a problem. I personally don't feel that you should call yourself a Raider fan if you're pushing more for the success of an individual player than the team. That's just how I feel. Now, if you want to, do something crazy and be like, I'm not listening to this fucking guy anymore. I'm turning off and I'm leaving and this and that. Fine. That's okay. Because you know what I want here in my podcast? You know what I want? I want Raider fans. That's what I want. Okay? I don't want people jumping on here, talking all that shit, making all these excuses, right? That, oh, well, Derek Carr just needs this and he'll be fine. Derek Carr needs this and he'll be better. Okay, we've given him a lot. Now what happened? What happened? What is the end result? You know I love and appreciate every single one of you guys. You know I do. But we have to stop with the excuses. When is enough enough? How many times are you going to go to all-you-can-eat Chinese buffet and get food poisoning and stop blaming your hormones or stop blaming other things? Look at what the problem is. If Carr is not the guy, he's not the guy. Is he? Isn't he? We will see. And I think this next year will show us a lot. Let's get some of your comments here. You're completely a hater. Yeah, I hate excuses, bro. Frank, I hate excuses. David Rios, tell him, Soto, you got it, baby, all day. Rodgers only won Super Bowl. Okay, how many times has he been to the playoffs? How many times has he won MVP? Aaron Rodgers is obviously not the problem in Green Bay. At the same token, if DC does great, Raiders do. Yeah, I'm not rooting for DC to do badly. That's the thing that people don't understand. I'm not rooting against Derek Carr. I'm rooting for the Raiders. That means Derek Carr does well, we do well. If Derek Carr is the same or, maybe a little bit worse, or we're just not doing better, why are we still spinning on wheels, guys? That's what I don't understand. I don't get it. Third round quarterback isn't necessarily a replacement, though. Ideally, yes, but there is no guarantee. There is no guarantee with a first rounder, my man. But this was one of the top 2 or 3 prospects in the NFL draft last year, and your team got it. Your team picked. So you were the number 1 seed in the AFC, which means you're a pretty damn good team, and you had all the excuses in the world. Your bell cow back was coming off an injury. He wasn't the same guy, blah, 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 this and that, da. And you had more needs. You just, your top 2 receivers from last year, your wide receivers, your starting ones, Julio Jones and A.J. Brown, are not going to be back. You had needs elsewhere, and you had players that could have filled those needs. But you chose to pick a quarterback. Why is that? I don't know. When did I say he wasn't the guy? Frank, you're the one saying he's not the guy. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is this. And Frank, thank you very much. I appreciate you saying that, because I don't want to be any misconceptions here, because I know a lot of you Carr stands out there. Whenever I say something that's not positive about Carr, flip a switch and you see red. And everything is like, fuck you, Derek Carr's the man. Oh, I'll let him eat my wife's ass and all this other shit. Okay, here's what I'm saying. I'm saying a lot better, more accomplished quarterbacks have been replaced than Derek Carr, is what I'm trying to say. That's what I was saying by this list that I gave. There have been a lot better quarterbacks who have been a lot more accomplished than Derek Carr who have been replaced. There have also been better quarterbacks who didn't get nearly the chance 8 years that Derek Carr has gotten in their first go-round. Okay? That's what I'm saying. The other thing I'm saying to follow up with that is, if with all these improvements, okay, Derek Carr is not better, the Raiders are not better, what do? Do you keep rolling out year after year after year? See, the thing is, I would love for us to fall into a situation where we get the replacement for our guy right away. I would love it. I would love for next year we're able to trade up in the first round. If Derek Carr proves to be not the guy, okay? Big if, remember that. We're able to trade up in the first round, and Derek Carr is able to do, and that quarterback is able to do to Derek Carr what Derek Carr did to Matt Schaub. Just beat him out in the preseason and become the starter right away. And we have a new guy to roll out there. I would love for that to be the case if Derek Carr is not the guy. But why would you roll out Derek Carr and be committed to him long term if you know he's not? What I'm saying is this. I'm not saying you have to start the rookie right away if you do get one, but at least have an exit strategy in mind. That's what I'm saying. Jack Kenna, well, I appreciate you and the content you give. This is the season. Will the real Carr stand up? Jack, I appreciate you, but has the real Carr already stood up? That's another question to ask. Xavier, Warriors in 6. Got to play a whole lot better than they did before. Jack Kenna Soto, who do you want to replace Carr? Who is better than the Raiders that we can get? If no one, then pause. No, I just said right now, I would love for us to get a rookie quarterback and have him be the guy right away. That's not always possible. But like I said, I'm not afraid of quarterback purgatory. I'm not afraid to look for that new guy. As long as you know the guy that you have is not the guy, you have to start earnestly looking for the next guy. Does that mean Derek Carr is gone in 2 years? No, because you know what happened with the Chiefs, right? They knew that Alex Smith wasn't the guy. They went out and got a guy that they thought would be the guy and sat him for a year. That's possible too. But at least have a plan in place that's better than Marcus Mariota or fucking Nathan Peterman or Jarrett Stidham or any other hacks that we have out there. There is nobody really pushing Derek Carr to be better besides Derek Carr. There's no player behind him that can literally take his job. And that's a problem. You need competition at every position. And right now, quarterback does not have competition. We have not drafted a quarterback with any type of capital in years. Years. No, it's all good, baby. Okay, like what? You're saying all the statistics are less? What about those wins and losses, my man? Greater Messiah, if we have the number one offense in the NFL, but our defense is garbage again, then we don't make the playoffs because they give up more points than 25 teams again. Does Carr need to leave? No, that's what I said before. If Carr proves that he can be the guy and there's another deficiency, okay. But if Carr turns the ball over just as many times as he, throws touchdowns, that's a problem. If Carr continues to flounder in the red zone, which no Josh McDaniels team, even with Tim Tebow, has floundered in the red zone, if he does, that's a problem. That's a problem. So I will tell you this. What if, Raider Messiah, since you want to play the what if game, if the Raiders have a top defense and a top offense and a shit defense and they don't go anywhere? What if the Raiders have a similar offense and a better defense? What if they're like 15th and 15th and they still don't go anywhere? What do you do then? Oh, not so easy. Yeah, because the thing is, I want to bring out debate because I want to bring out the real Raider fans. That's what I want to bring out. I don't want to bring out the fake Raider fans that love Carr over anything else. I don't give a shit if the dude that's packing groceries down the street ends up being our quarterback. If we win games, I'm happy. I'm not happy making the playoffs once every 4 years. I'm not happy when I do make the playoffs every 4 years to get first rounded. That doesn't make me happy. And then when people want to say that the quarterback that we have right now is the God of all gods, but he's throwing 24 touchdowns, turning the ball over 21 times, that's not great. Yeah, he's Captain Comeback, but when you have a bad defense, guess what? You're going to be in a lot of shootouts, and you're going to have the opportunity for a lot of those games. And let me tell you something right now. If you need a touchdown in those games, you're probably not going to win with Derek Carr. Okay? Do it. Go look yourselves. Go look at the stats for Derek Carr's comebacks. Over 90% of those comebacks were won by a field goal. Okay? Just like people say, I don't say this, but a lot of detractors do say that Derek Carr is a training camp hero, a training camp warrior. He does great and he looks flawless in a jersey and shorts. Okay, if you're playing against a prevent defense, which I still think the prevent defense just prevents you from winning, and you're Derek Carr, you can move the ball 50 yards and get into field goal position. He's not a bad quarterback. I never said he was, but is he the guy? Frank, you're killing me with this. Marino was a first ballot Hall of Famer. His stats cannot be translated to Derek Carr stats because the game was different. The game wasn't the passing league that it is now. Get your mind out of that headspace. If you compare Marino to his contemporaries, Marino was one of the top quarterbacks in the league. Raider Messiah, I agree with you. P.S. I'm always willing to upgrade it. I love Carr, but if we can get better, next. McDaniels always wants quarterbacks in the wings. Yes, but who's the quarterback in the wing now? Jarrett Stidham? Are you that pumped up over Jarrett Stidham? Chocolate City Outlaw. Raiders are going to have a top 5 offense and a top 10 defense. Word. Bro, if that happens, look, I'll shut up about it. But the fact that you do have staunch Raider fans, RJ likes to use the fact that Derek Carr is one of the most polarizing players in the NFL to Derek Carr's advantage. Like, oh my God, he's done so much for us. He's, the second coming, and he still gets hated on so much. No, fam. If he was that good, he wouldn't have split Raider Nation in half. If he was that good. He's just not that, or hasn't proven that he's been that good. Just hasn't. Well, Rich Gannon doesn't play in the NFL right now. So if you want to take a look at players that are better than Derek Carr, we can go look at the quarterbacks that are playing right now. And how many of those players have entered the league since Derek Carr has already been in the league? That's a better question to ask. Because are we going to go back and get Rich Gannon? No. But since when is good enough? Since when is like he's okay? Since when is that enough? It's not. That's not to me. Is that a commitment to excellence, Jack? Is that a commitment to excellence? I don't think so. We're committing to excellence here. Keegan Jones. This is the year where Carr should blow the doors off defenses, regardless of how our defense plays. If Carr doesn't, then he got to go. Keegan, I'm very upset that you hadn't started commenting before because that's exactly correct. Jack Kenna, if the Raiders have a top offense, then it isn't the offense. If players replace the defense. Agreed. All right, guys. Thank you very much. This is my time. I did over an hour, and I'm going to shit myself right now. I want to make sure everyone, we like, comment, subscribe, and also hit that notification button. You guys are the best, man. I've got to do this for you. I'll do this hurt. I'll do this sick. I want to make sure that we get to have a good conversation out there, guys. Much appreciated. I got mad love for you guys and mad love for the Raiders. To end the game, to end the day, I will say this. I root for the Raiders, not just Derek Carr. Let's do